top for globalists, for their interests, not the interests of the nation. They hate Trump because his first slogan, America First, remember that? Oh my God, they're fascist. They're fascist because he wanted to put America first and, wait for it, American citizens first. Right? Right? What is Trump fighting on the tariffs and the trade and all this, on the tax bill he's doing? The additional tax cut, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, right? He understands the American people, that the shoulders of the whole world system rest on your shoulders. Think about that. It rests on your shoulders. You're the full faith and credit of the United States. The whole monetary system, everything is on your shoulders. The whole military is on your shoulders. And you've been screwed every day for the last 50 years since President Reagan left, right? Right? Until Trump came out. That's what they hate. They hate the fact that he came with a revolution that was a great awakening. Nobody in this room, if I told you years ago that one day, right before the 250th anniversary of one of the greatest moments in world history, not just American history, the shot heard around the world in Lexington and Concord, you would be in a convention hall, screaming like mad men and mad women, right? As one of the greatest examples in this country of taking the country back. You say, no, I'm not going to, it was on, think about it. Think about your life. Think of the arc of your life. Think of your journey. That is what is inspiring people throughout the country. Tarrant County, and here's the amazing thing. In South Carolina, which is so MAGA, with his population and his folks, in Texas, which is so MAGA, the establishment there are, how do I say this politely, not MAGA, right? Because the vested interest that God wanted us to understand the enemies of this nation and what they were prepared to do to this nation and prepared to do to the folks that were the backbone of the nation, right? That victory against all odds, the third victory, because they saw us coming, is the most powerful, because now we have people that you would think never hear the MAGA about MAGA. 39% of African American men, Hispanics in majority. And I can tell you, having done a short trip to a federal prison, the young, I'm telling you right there, these people, these young African American, Hispanic men hate the Democratic Party. They hate it. And they admire Trump. They don't understand all his policies, and they don't have to. They said, that guy's a leader. He's not a politician. I will follow that man. That's what Trump gives us. And what is for you tonight, after this, ask yourself one thing about taking it broader from here and even broader than Columbia. But taking your message throughout the country, to your countrymen, that so far some of them have just been too timid to do it. Ask yourself, the world's had, I don't know, 10, 12, 14, 114 billion, I think, 114 billion people, right, since the beginning. Why did divine providence put you here in this time and place? What are you going to be judged for? What are you going to be held accountable for? Why are you here in America and you are every bit as patriotic and have a deep, abiding love for this country and prepared to sacrifice for this country as the men and women that were in Lexington Common and at Concord Bridge this Saturday 250 years ago? Everybody that reads this, if I was there, we are in the greatest danger, a far greater danger than the Patriots in 1775 and 76. Greater than even the Civil War. Greater than World War II and the lead up to it. This is the greatest peril this nation's ever had, because the forces aligned against us are not only international forces, but the traitors on Wall Street and corporate America and in Silicon Valley. The enemy within is almost as powerful as the enemy without. And the only thing that stands between it is Trump and you. In closing, I can just leave you with one thing. You are amazing, tremendous. Now you have to inspire an entire nation and lead an entire nation. No, I'm just a crazy Mick that yells into a microphone. Seriously, you guys do the work. I just want to leave you with one thing. When you set out to take Vienna, take Vienna. Fight, fight, fight!
All right, there you go. Stephen K. Bannon wrapping up his speech at the Greenville, South Carolina Republican Convention there. Real America's Voice. Welcome on in, everybody, on a Monday night.
Trump
Bannon.
2028.
Okay, there you go. Trump 2028.
Trump, 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 Trump.
Okay, here we go.
On the afternoon of January 20th, 2029, I'll have Bill Maher at the inauguration read this out loud. How's that?
There we go.
Is this an encore?
I don't know. Let's leave it up for a second, Aaron.
He came back for Stairway to Heaven.
This is Donald Trump's star on the
Hollywood lock. Hold it. They take this star up.
It looks like Richard Gere.
He's too big for that one.
All right, there you go. All right, very good. Stephen K. Bannon wrapping up his speech down there in Greenville, South Carolina.
Did they take it up?
Getting
Aren't they trying to? Are we going to let them do that?
Trump star on the Walk of Fame. Are we going to let him take it up?
Why?
Let me tell you something. There's no way that you can be defeated. If we don't quit, we're going to win. You know that, right?
Okay, there we go. Looks like Steve's done. All right, welcome on in, everybody. Live from Studio 6B on a Monday night, getting started. Welcome in. Slick, how are you?
Good, Big D. How you doing?
Slick's going to do sports. Delgado's here is going to do some news. Paul Nolan's going to do some news as well. Mr. Delgado, how are you?
I'm okay.
Very good. Mr. Nolan, how are you?
You weren't waiting for him to just...
That's the way to handle it.
No, not interested in why it's okay.
Expand?
The difference between okay and great these days with Delgado could be who knows what.
What are you talking
Could be,
about?
Right, Slick?
could be a whole nother universe.
That's exactly right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Nolan, how are you?
I'm well. I had a nice
Very
day
good.
today, and appreciate all Big D's editing help. The guy's a master on the computer.
Thank you.
And I am a boomer.
I had a good day, too.
Okay. Why? Okay, fine.
Good day, mate.
Back to Delgado. Why
it's all right.
Why are you just okay?
No, it's all right.
Okay, good. All right. Well, Slick, I guess we got to start with the Masters.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I've ever seen
A worse than putt
a
game.
more bipolar round of golf other than when me and Paul play. I mean, that's
And
what
that's
I would
before you
compare
hit
it to.
the eighth hole with a drinking
I mean, when you
starts.
see shots that me and Paul would hit on any hole on any Saturday, and then the 2 holes later, you see the greatest shot you've ever seen hit on any level of golf. You think, how could this be the same person?
It was fascinating.
It was fascinating. You
I don't
even
think
sent
I've-
the message.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like what I saw on Sunday at the Masters with Rory. I just don't think I've ever seen it. Just in total control. And then totally leaks oil, loses it again, and you're thinking, here we go. The guy, I was texting back and forth with my dad. I said, the guy's just cursed. He can't handle the pressure here. He just can't. When he hits it in the brook on 13, that's one of the worst shots I've ever seen by a professional.
How
It's
about
not
the
even-
putts?
I have that shot
5 foot
mastered,
putts
by
he's
the way.
missing.
I have that short into the brook because I just don't want to commit to it. Because I'm such a chicken on the. That's what I would have done. I would have came up short because I didn't want to go for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
was
that is
such an amateur play.
I mean, to make double there and then to make bogey on 14, it was 13, 14, I think it was. Then he gets to 15, and he hits one of the greatest shots I've ever seen.
Oh, that was incredible.
I mean, I've never seen it. Rivals Bubba out of the
Yes.
pucker brush there. The year that he won it when he twisted that ball. I mean, it's one of the greatest shots I've ever seen.
Incredible.
And then he misses the putt, but he makes birdie. And then he gets to 18 and hits one of the worst shots from 125. If you gave him 100 balls, he wouldn't put it in that bunker on any one of them on just any day. If he just went out there with a bucket of balls, he could never put it in that bunker.
Even with a 30-mile-an-hour headwind.
Puts it in the bunker, gets it out, misses a 4-footer for the whole the whole ball of wax.
Because that spot he was in that bunker is the easy up and down. Like, these guys love that up and down.
I mean,
from
he
that
hit it
exact
to 4
spot.
feet. You got to make that putt.
Yeah, that putt
How
he
he
gotta
misses
make.
that
Played there
putt
for all these years. The pin's in the same place every year. He misses the putt.
Yep.
Then he gets into a playoff, and you're thinking, oh, it's just doomed.
Right.
And then after, he hits a terrible shot. Has the same yardage on the playoff hole on 18, and he hits a gap wedge to 2 feet. And you just go, where was that?
And it just rolled back. It was a beauty.
And then he finally makes the putt, and it's over. I mean, I've
That
never seen
playoff,
anything.
though, how about they rivaled each other's shots? I mean, that was back. The playoff was outstanding.
Almost
too.
almost to the tee. I mean, literally,
know.
almost within feet.
I mean,
was
I've never seen
riveting.
anything like it.
Yeah,
I wanted to see go at least 2 playoff holes, because that was good golf. That was
it was
fun.
good.
Yeah,
Good
just
overtime.
One hole isn't really like a playoff. It's like
It's
sudden death.
sudden
It's
life
like if
thing,
you could
yeah.
do like, all right, we're gonna do 5.
fun.
Oh, 5 would have killed it.
Well,
awesome.
the U.S. Open used to do 18, and they got
they?
rid of it. And it was great when they did. If you had a
Yeah.
tie at the end of Sunday, you come back Monday to play 18.
Play a whole round. Yeah.
Remember
Wow.
Tiger
Yeah.
and
That's a lot.
what's his
That's
name?
tough.
Famously, when Tiger had the bum knee and he still won.
Yeah. Hey, my question to you is this, and I was thinking about this because of the way Bryson DeChambeau kind of detonated in the last round. Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that live golfers only play 3 rounds in their tournaments?
No,
No, that guy could run through a brick wall.
no, nothing.
No, I understand that, but do you think?
I mean, he only shot 3 over. I mean, that's not good for him.
Right,
but
but he
on
shot
that,
a 75. What was it, 75
Yeah,
in the last?
3
He had a
over.
bad day.
But he had a couple plays that he just missed by a hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
his
his
yardages on his irons were terrible throughout most of the day. He had 100, he had 125 yards, and he hit it 135. He just couldn't figure out what.
He was overshooting a lot.
Yeah, his yardages were not dialed in. But no, I mean, Bryson could win that tournament any given. I mean, he'll definitely win one. And by the way, how about my guy? Nice job by my guy, Oberg.
Oh, yeah, Oberg came back.
Oberg's
Old
in the
Ludwig.
lead all of a sudden. I
Ludwig
don't
did.
think he knew.
For a minute there, I thought you were going to get it.
I did too.
It was Clark. He was number 2.
Until he decided to play like me on 18.
Around the 8th hole, I bet him at 22-1, and he made that run up the ladder there. I was getting excited.
Yeah,
And
there was some run.
I mean, he just played regular golf. I mean, the field really came back to him. He didn't. I mean, he made a couple birdies, but he
Well, he
didn't really
got to
make a run.
-9, though.
They just came back to him, and then all of a sudden he's -10. He's walking up 17 like it's just it's a Sunday at the local club. Like I don't think he had any. I wonder if he even knew he was tied for the lead at that time. And then he gets to 18, and then
Yeah, the wheels fell
plays
off.
like it's his first day playing golf.
And then somebody told him, and he went, huh?
yeah.
Cost himself $600,000. I saw the 18th hole.
That's a nice hit.
Oh, so my dad texted me too. He said, "Hey, your guy's right there now."
Yeah, I
and
thought
then,
you-
like literally 2 shots later, he was like, "Oops, sorry."
I literally thought I was going to, I got to
jumped
hit him
the gun.
tomorrow night. I got it.
Oh man. So, I hope you all had a good weekend. Welcome on in. Whatever you did, I mean, the Masters. If you watched it, man, it was unbelievable. But there was a lot of other news this weekend as well. A lot of news today. We'll get to. Slick will do sports. Delgado will do some news. Paul Nolan will do some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. I think the big takeaway of today is how many people in the media are just jumping on the ability and jumping on the opportunity to call for a constitutional crisis, which the people calling for it, of course, don't care about the Constitution. They'd like to burn it down if they could in 99% of the other times. But now they see an opportunity to use it and embrace it and hug it, of course, because Trump and this MS-13 gang member who was deported back to his country of origin. And have you ever seen so many jump to defend a gang member as what's going on today with this MS-13 deportation to El Salvador? And the El Salvadorian president was in the Oval Office today. And Stephen Miller had multiple times today of just smacking down reporters on how absolutely fake and phony they've been on reporting what the Supreme Court actually said, which they don't care what the Supreme Court actually said. They act like they do, but they don't really care. All they want to know is there a way for them to use it to say Trump needs to be impeached? That's their only bar for liking what the Supreme Court said or even having any vague interest in what they actually wrote. That's their only bar. I saw it all day long today. Impeachment number 3, third time's the charm. It's got to be impeachment. This is outrageous. It's a constitutional crisis. All of this, all day long. from, I don't know, Twitter keeps feeding me people I've never seen before, too. You ever notice that?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you get into one subject, you talk, you do a couple searches for information on one, and then all of a sudden you're getting all these lefties on constitutional crisis and impeach Trump for the third time, and they're defying a 9-0 order from the Supreme Court. Like hell they are. And Stephen Miller did a fantastic job, along with the Attorney General, Secretary of State, the Vice President, the President, all in the Oval Office today. With Caitlin Collins, they're droning on and on, asking the same question 9 different ways to Sunday because she's not getting the answer she likes, and she's dealing with people who are much smarter than she is. So she doesn't like that. So that's probably the video and the story of the day from me. And we have the full 5 minutes of what happened in the Oval Office today. We'll play that for you as well. Then we'll have, obviously, other news. There's other things to talk about as well. But that's probably the video of the day. So Stephen K. Bannon kicks us off. Welcome on in. We'll take it from here. News, sports, all coming up on a Monday night live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this. Disappearing people without any clue, with any due process, is fascism. It's like my whole feed is nothing but people I've never heard of before talking about the same nonsense.
Welcome in, YouTubers. YouTube chat, Big D. Mark Gibbs, $5. The Dems probably want to hire the MS-13 guy for some side work, quote unquote. They're absolute idiots. I'm getting new lefties on my Facebook feed, too.
Yeah.
So he's also seeing the same thing. That's Mark Gibbs, our friend Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, it's like nonstop. It's like literally nonstop.
Yeah, it came in.
I'm telling you, this CNN 5-minute hit piece that I saw today about any man who likes UFC, and they're calling it the manosphere. Like, this woman from Cosmo goes undercover, says she dates alpha males for a year to do a real human interest story on them. And I'm going to tell you, it was one of the most laughable interviews I've ever seen. And anybody who likes UFC, for the most part, is a white supremacist. Interesting.
Or goes to Trump. What else? He goes to them.
Yep. It's just all part of the same
zeroed in on that
story.
They zeroed in on that.
Someone just said Jim Nance's funeral-like commentary jinxed the whole thing. Come on, man, that's terrible.
Nance was great.
Phenomenal.
You
kidding me?
He was perfect.
The consummate pro.
The way he is the consummate pro.
I mean, they let that thing go for like 8 minutes. He said like 6 words, and it was live from Studio 6B on a Monday night. Welcome on in, everybody. Glad you're here. Hope you had a great weekend. Slick's going to do sports. Of course, we already talked a lot of sports about the Masters, but hard not to.
We did.
What a Sunday it was. Rick Delgado's going to do some news. Paul Nolan's going to do news. It's always nice to come in on Monday and have a little presence here from the great LFS6B audience, which, of course, we adore and love.
Yes.
And that is exactly what happened tonight as we get here. And it was a big box here.
Yeah.
And Slick, of course, receives all the packages. And this package was from Donita, Dakota, and Phil Harmon on X. And it says, Happy Easter to y'all at LFS6B. Thank you for the laughter and fun in the chat. Delgado, this is because of your repost. Enjoy. And they sent us all these nice, beautiful coffee mugs stuffed with little goodies that I can't eat because I'm on a diet.
I'll eat them.
But Delgado can eat them. I got Hershey Kisses and Hershey Eggs, chocolate-filled this. And we've got these nice cups with Aaron. You say who's on the cup here? What's this thing's name?
From Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's?
Yeah.
Not Buc-ee's fan, because we have someone called Buc-ee's fan.
Yeah, no, not Buc-ee's fan in the chat.
But this is Buc-ee's.
Maybe they're a fan of Buc-ee's.
Yeah, and what is Buc-ee's exactly? It's like Wawa?
Kind of like a Wawa meets a Walmart glorified gas station.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Could you do that again?
It
That was actually good.
it's kind of like Walmart meets Wawa glorified gas station.
Yeah.
Oh, so Royal Farms.
What's the place I like? The Sheets.
Yeah, you like Sheets.
Oh, man, come on.
This
You guys
place I
ever
think
been
is
to
bigger
Royal
than
Farms?
Sheets.
Bigger than the Sheets?
It's like
Oh,
if you
yeah.
took a Sheets and you made it into a warehouse. That's a Buc-ee's.
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Yeah. Sounds awesome.
Well, these are pretty cool. Delgado's already eating his
Road
chocolate.
trip.
I'm a beaver believer. I believe in beaver.
So Slick
yes.
and Delgado got the yellows. Me, Paul, Vinnie Mac got this nice, what would you call this, like wood panel?
That looks like
a barrel.
Like
a barrel.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a wine barrel or
A barrel, there we go.
bourbon barrel.
Like Cracker Barrel. They have great breakfast there, Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, if you want to die of hardening of the
Well, I mean,
arteries
come on,
by
Paul. I
midway
mean-
through it.
And then Kevin Downey Jr. got this one,
Oh, we got the white one.
and it says it's a
It's
beaver.
a beaver.
And then the beaver on the this side. So we love gifts. Thank you very much. Again, to Donita, Dakota, and Phil Harmon on X. And Delgado, it sounds like you're responsible for this. Something you reposted or something or other?
Yes. I think it had to do with Buc-ee's,
Okay, very good.
I believe.
And so this stuff showed up today, and we want to thank them very, very much for it. So,
And I'm a beaver believer.
Yeah, yes, you are.
okay, very good. 19 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday. Let's do some sports. Then we'll do some news with Delgado. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Great stuff for Lindell. You can still shop for Easter, I believe, today. They've got a bunch of great deals going on. They're percale, and I will say it correct this time so I don't get 900 emails telling me that I pronounced it wrong. Percale, I believe is how you pronounce it. Bed sheets are a flat, I think, $25 for any size. Kings, whatever you want. I think they're $25 blowout sale for as long as they last. And then the Rev 7, which has hit the market, which, Delgado, I'm sorry to tell you, you will not be taste testing them because my son drank them.
Oh, no.
And he absolutely loved them.
Really?
Yeah. He said, Dad, they're so good. He had the lemonade and the blue, I think it's blue raspberry or something. And now he's the
mine.
apple. The green apple I still have, Delgado. Do you want to taste test that one?
Sure, bring it in.
Okay,
Come on.
so maybe we can test that one because he wasn't sure he was going to like that one, so he left it. But man, he really liked them. So I'm gonna have to call Mike and try to swindle some more out of them. So Rev 7 is available at live at mypillow.com/LFS6B as well. Slick, let's do some sports. What's going on?
All right, big deal. When we covered the Masters, I'll run it back a little bit more in the next sports segment. But another big event over the weekend was down in Miami, right, Big D? UFC 314.
Oh.
And it was with deep regret that I could not join you and Vin Buda on the that
On the
great
coverage.
coverage on Rav. You talk about it. It was incredible,
Yeah, who
right?
saw? I mean, it was last minute, but man, we had a great time covering the UFC.
Yeah, good one.
Who watched? Anybody watched the coverage? We didn't have a chat, so I don't know if it was on social media or what. But
Well, I saw it on. I quickly saw it on Getter. I went on real quick and I checked it on the Rav Getter. And but I was actually at an event. I was a Prince tribute band that I had to go see out east. I already had tickets, so unfortunately I couldn't join you guys. Would have loved to. But great event, right? Alexander the Great, Volkanovski with the win, big win there. Tough decision, 5-round decision over Diego Lopez. And but let's talk about President Trump because he was the guest of honor, if you will, and Donald Trump's entrance to star-studded UFC 314 brings the house down. This is Nick Gilbertson of Breitbart Sports. President Donald Trump's entrance to UFC 314 in Miami, Florida, Saturday night sent the Kaseya Center into a frenzy. The president walked into a star-packed center sporting a gold tie while flanked by his entourage, which included some of his grandchildren, UFC CEO Dana White, and Representative Byron Donalds as well, who Trump has endorsed for governor of Florida. UFC commentator Joe Rogan asked fellow commentators John Anik and former heavyweight champion and U.S. Olympian Daniel Cormier if anyone else besides Trump and UFC fighters has a walk-in as the president's signature entry song, American Badass, by his friend Kid Rock blasted in the arena. Cormier emphasized that Trump always gets a walkout. Give him the walkout. People love it, Cormier said. The president greeted cabinet members and celebrities as he took his seat in the arena. After shaking hands with Barstool's CEO Dave Portnoy and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in attendance, Trump made his way to the commentators, sharing a hug with Rogan. And I think we have cut two with Trump there doing a little dance as he walked in, if I'm not mistaken. Here we go. Fired up, Big D.
Yeah, we covered it on Saturday Live as the president got there, and as you well say, he went over to Joe Rogan, D.C., and John Anik, and made his way through, stopped to say hello to Dave Portnoy, stopped to say hello to RFK. People thought he blew RFK's wife off. I don't know. I think he got distracted.
Oh, come on.
Because there was he did walk by her and not shake hands. She kind of reacted, but I think he got distracted by Joe Rogan or by Dana White. And then I saw a picture later that he did go back and he was talking to her and him together. So, I mean, but people just try to jump at every little thing they can.
And another part of that story, they had talked beforehand. So they were hanging out beforehand. So it's not like, he totally blew her off. Like you said, he had gotten distracted, and then he went back.
Yeah.
And with Volkanovski with that win, I saw the highlights, Big D. Pretty good fight there. Good shots there.
Yeah, Volkanovski looked good. Better than I thought he was going to look because he has been on a losing streak and getting knocked out. And now he did take those fights on short notice, and he had a full camp for this one. He looked good.
Yeah, 48-47, 49-46, and 49-46.
That was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, new undisputed featherweight champion now. And lightweight Paddy Pimblett, TKO in round 3 over Michael Chandler as well.
He's a star. The kid's a star. He's going to be as close to a star that the UFC has developed since Conor. He talks the talk on the mic. He backs it up. He's undefeated. Everybody keeps counting him out. In every fight he goes, and they say, oh, this is the one they're going to get him. And he keeps winning. He's not Conor McGregor. I'm not saying that, but he's going to be as close to a star if they make him. If they make the push.
But he's entertaining.
He's entertaining. He's good on the mic.
Yep.
He gets into it with, he starts these. He gets into it with people.
He's funny.
Yeah, he's good.
He's funny.
He's good.
Good stuff.
And he's really good in the ring.
And just shifting gears, Big D, Western Michigan secures program's first Frozen 4 title. Also on Saturday night, ESPN News Services reporting St. Louis. Owen Michaels scored the two third-period goals, including an empty netter to seal Western Michigan's first Frozen 4 championship in a 6-2 victory over Boston University on Saturday night. Irio Hikaranarian and Wyatt Shingloth, well, these are great names, each had a goal and assist, while Ty Hendricks and Cole Krusberg-Rosen also scored to cap the Broncos' first Frozen 4 appearance in the program's 52-year history. Hampton Slugneski stopped 24 shots, top-seeded Western Michigan 34-7-1 closed its winningest season with 10 straight victories. The Broncos reached the finals when Michaels, who played 2 seasons in the North American Hockey League and does not yet have an NHL contract, scored his second goal, 26 seconds into double OT, and a 3-2 overtime winner against Denver Thursday night, which was a thrilling game. But great win in the Frozen 4. Boston University has won 5 of them, so it's time that Western Michigan won their first. So that's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back.
All right, Slick, very good. 26 past the hour. Daniel Romberg from Nation's First Financial is going to join us when we get back, talk a little bit about taxes, tariffs, what's going on right now in the country. We'll do that when we get back, plus news with Delgado coming up right after this.
Do you know how to make your phone just touch it to the phone?
Okay, guys, listen up here. Good one. YouTube Super Chat, Big D. Joe in Las Vegas has given us $99.99.
Thank you very much.
For the LFS 6B A team. So glad Paul is back with Damon, Rick A, Rick D,
Thank you,
Aaron,
sir.
and Fran.
Thank you.
Angela never missed the show. So Joe and Angela in Las Vegas, they never missed the show. $99.99. Wow, that's huge, Joe. Thank you so much.
That's huge. Thank you, sir.
It's Joe and Angela.
Hey,
Hey.
what's your story? Hey, little Easter candy over here.
Hey. I know I stole some of Slick's because
If you're watching on social media, make sure you hit the like and subscribe, whatever platform you're on. YouTube, X, Rumble, Getter, Kick, Facebook, wherever you're watching. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you head over to livefromstudio6b.com. I hope you've checked out our brand new sponsor, Eternal Lifecoin, eternallifecoin.com. Aaron, we're going to do big promotion this week. I'll tell it now so exclusively people watching on social media hear it first. Any receipts from either Eternal Lifecoin or My Pillow this week will do free merch.
Wow.
For Easter. Well, no, I mean, no. Even if they're on the last couple days, it's fine. Well, okay. Well, tell him I changed my mind.
Bill, Big D, call him back. Get him on the phone.
Call him
Aaron.
back, Aaron.
Call him right now. Get him on the phone. Come on,
Get them
Big D.
shirts.
Retracking.
We'll go. All right, now we'll start today. No, that's not fair. If they just bought, no, we go back. Yeah, we'll go back.
Did we ever hear from Chip? Did we ever hear from Chip, who won it all, won the Final Four
I'm
last
sure we
week?
did. Yeah. Really? Okay, email him.
I'm surprised.
Go to eternallifecoin.com. Check it out. If you haven't seen my video on our X, brand new sponsor for Vinny Max segments. Great time to get it leading into Easter. They're absolutely gorgeous. Okay.
I love me some Reese's peanut
Andy
butter cups.
Bocari is asking LFS 6B, will you be on Good Friday? Yes, we will. Sure will. We're working Friday night. Sure.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday night, all across the country on Real America's Voice. Glad you're in, everybody. Slick's going to do some more sports. Delgado's going to do the news. Paul Nolan's got some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Lots to get to on a busy Monday night. But right now, Daniel Romberg is an American entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, author, a keynote speaker. He's best known for his best-selling book, No Stone Left Unturned, Retirement Simplified, and Pay Off Your Mortgage. And he joins us on the show right now from Nations First Financial. You can find them online at www.nationsfirstfin.com. Mr. Romberg, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, gentlemen. Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you. Welcome on in. And an interesting time with taxes and retirement and tariffs and everything that's going on. But first, tell us a little bit about Nations First Financial and kind of what your guys' missions is there.
Yeah, absolutely. Nations First is an independent firm started by my father 22 years ago. And our whole mission is to help people realize their purpose with the season of life and retirement. And what that really means, Damon, is we look to make sure that we're helping people to operate from the abundance mindset. What we found is when people retire, it's super common to fall into a tug of war between scarcity and abundance thinking. And we actually have a process at Nations First Financial that we use to help our clients to realize that abundance and joy and show up powerfully in those years of life.
Yeah, and let's just think about retirement first, and you think about being in that kind of that red zone of retirement. in that last part, as you're getting close to retirement, in that 60 to 70 range. I don't think people even these days think they can retire in their 60s with the way things are and the way, and savings and looking at how we've, with inflation and stuff. But what's the most important for people retiring soon to know? What should they be focused on now, given the kind of the time we're living in with everything going on?
Yeah, that's so contextual to everything that's happening right now, and a great question. There is a lot happening in the markets, the economy. Sometimes there's people that get worried about what's happening, or sometimes there's people that are encouraged. But I think the most important thing for people to realize is you have to look at your individual situation. What is your individual risk capacity? How much time do you have until retirement? What are the steps that you've taken to be proactive, to figure out what your taxes are going to look like, what your income is going to look like, how you're going to choose Social Security, what kind of legacy you're going to leave to your kids, and how you're going to be prepared to deal with healthcare challenges in retirement. A lot of people are focused on the news right now, but I'm encouraging people to really take a hard look at what they need. One of the saddest things I hear, or I used to hear a lot closer to 2008, was people would tell me, oh, I was on track for retirement, and then 2008 happened. Well, that never needs to be the case. If you're properly looking at the risks that you can handle at the right times in life, then your retirement really should be secure. Beyond that, with our process, we teach people how to build wealth from there. And it's really just an incredible way for people to take control in a time where there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, when you opened, you talk about making sure people are focused on retirement, and let's talk about income in retirement, because obviously when we're working, our working years, you're making income, and you're living your life, you're raising your kids, you're paying for college, you're doing your things, and you're working, you have income coming in. But what's the best way, or what do you advise clients? What's the best way for clients to actually create income in retirement?
Well, there's two ways that you can measure income and how to create it in retirement. You can either increase the income from the distribution of your assets, or you can decrease the monthly obligation from your liabilities. That's really the only two levers you have. So when we look at retirement income, we look at things first that are going to be guaranteed for life. This is going to be, how do we maximize your Social Security? How do we maximize your pension if you have it? And where can we properly place, a well-portioned annuity to create guaranteed cash flow for as long as you live? Once you have that basic tenet met for all your need and expenses, then all we do is look at the key risks that could mess up that income. Higher taxes, inflation, long-term care, losing your spouse, the economy crashing, interest rates rising or falling. We neutralize all those key risks with that amount of guaranteed lifetime income that you need for your basic needs. And then the things you want to do in retirement, your lifestyle goals, then the probability of portfolio failure becomes zero. But, one of the great ways we help people, really, as much as we focus on income, is we focus on debt and helping people to eliminate debt properly and faster. My third book, Pay Off Your Mortgage, is all about how people can use a principle called velocity banking to really accelerate down debts pre-retirement, so that we can limit that monthly obligation. And what that does is effectively have a really positive net impact on your cash flow. The less you have to pay out, the more you're going to be able to receive. Taxes are a function of that. So many people are just kind of blindly handing over their information to a preparer, and they think that they're good because they got their filing done. But we have, incredible tax attorneys, CPAs on our team here at Nations First that will really go a little bit deeper and look to create a strategy to help you to maximize not only your income, but also your retirement savings for you and your family.
Let's stay on taxes for a second, because obviously the Trump taxes is something that's in the news. Congress trying to pass an extension of the Trump taxes to make them permanent. And obviously, there's arguments on both sides that if you pass the Trump taxes without cutting spending, you're blowing a hole in the deficit. And of course, that's kind of what the Democrats focus on. Republicans are focused on just getting the taxes through and try to stimulate business and stimulate upward mobility in the country. But when you look at taxes, they always say it's not a left-right issue. It's a math problem, that we're $36 trillion in debt. How do you help retirees in the tax issue when they get to retirement lower their tax burden?
Yeah, it's really quite simple. The more we study taxes, the more we realize there's some phenomenal ways for you to just, very simply reduce your income tax liability. I'll give you a couple of them. If it goes back to not focusing too much on what's happening out there and focusing a little bit more on your individual situation for a moment and say, okay, what are my taxes going to be in retirement? A lot of times we'll sit down with people and they'll say, oh, I have a great retirement income plan. We got it all mapped out. And I go, great, what's going to be your taxable income in retirement? And they look at me like a deer in the headlights, right? Like no one's ever asked me that before. Well, different levels of income are taxed differently. And so one of the first things we do is we look at what are going to be your source of income and what tax bracket are you going to be in. We have a progressive tax code in America, which means that you're going to pay taxes on some money at 0 in the standard deduction. You're going to pay some money at 10, some money at 12, and some money at 22, and so on. So when we look at those brackets, oftentimes we'll find retirees or people that are already in retirement who say, you know, I don't understand how to get ahead on taxes. I don't know what to do about this IRA or this 401k I have. Sometimes they're in a 0% tax bracket and they don't realize that they actually could access some of their money tax-free that was supposed to be taxable for the rest of their life. And so we look to maximize those brackets first. But another really easy, low-hanging fruit that's out there for a lot of people right now, especially now that interest rates are back, is bank products. A lot of people have pensions, Social Security, forms of income, and retirement, and they go, oh, I'm getting killed on taxes every year. I don't get it. What's happening? Well, then we look at their tax return, and they have a tremendous amount of interest coming from 1099s, from bank CDs, savings accounts, money markets. There are other tools you can utilize to create tax deferral and even tax-free results in retirement. You're not stuck with just using the products that are available at your bank, which create taxes every single year. Just by that shift alone, you can save thousands of dollars on taxes for a lot of people.
Yeah, we're speaking with Daniel Romberg from Nations First Financial. You can find him online at nationsfirstfin.com, right there on your screen. For people who have money in a Roth, in a regular IRA or 403b, or, you know, what we all kind of knew as the places to put your money growing up. We saw our parents do it. And now you look at taxes, sticking with this. A lot of people say taxes have nowhere to go in this country but up. Maybe not now as we try to extend the Trump tax cuts, obviously, as we said. But how do you advise clients where they have all their wealth in one of these, where, you know, somewhere where they haven't paid the taxes yet on the money? They deferred the taxes. Yeah. And taxes right now, probably most people looking at about 28% if they were to convert that. Are you advising clients to do Roth conversions to get it into something where it can, you know, kind of, you know, pay on the seeds and not the harvest kind of deal?
Yeah, I like that analogy you use. You know, first of all, I leave the tax advice up to our tax advisors. We have phenomenal professionals that are actual licensed CPAs and attorneys, but I have a working function of taxes as it relates to retirement income. In fact, that's what I wrote my first book about, No Stone Left Unturned. At this point in my career, I'd met with around, 1,000 families when I wrote this, and I realized that so many Americans have the bulk of their nest egg concentrated in these pre-tax vehicles and a home. And so that really doesn't create a lot of tax efficiency when you go to need your wealth and transfer it back to you for things that you're going to use it for over the rest of your life. And so there's ways you can tap equity in a home tax-free through loans and lines of credit. But when it comes to the 401k, it really is going to depend on your individual situation. Sometimes I see people converting to Roth unnecessarily or out of fear, or even to their detriment, to where they're never really going to live long enough to make that money back up. So it really comes down to analyzing your individual situation. But whenever I look to do Roth conversions, I always look to our CPAs and our tax advisors to say, what's going to be the strategy first? Maybe there's some deductions, some credits, some things that you could take advantage of or put in place right now that would lower your tax liability, and that might create the opportunity to do some Roth conversions or to do some contributions. So really, we got to take a look at the whole picture. It's a great question, and it really comes down to the individual, their needs, their priorities, their concerns, and then we help address them to maximize and optimize those from there.
Yeah. We're speaking with Daniel Romberg, again, from Nations First Financial. You can visit him online at Nations First Fin. Daniel's going to be appearing if you want to see more of this great stuff, Daniel Romberg is going to be on CNBC this Saturday morning on Tom Hegna's Financial Freedom Show, which airs at 9 a.m. on CNBC nationwide this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Tom Hegna's Financial Freedom with Tom Hegna. If people want to get a hold of you, I know you're in the Arizona area, local people out there. If people want to get a hold of you, where can they go?
We have a YouTube channel. It's just my first and last name, Daniel Romberg. We have a great library of different topics. We interview economists and different entrepreneurs and leaders in different spaces on everything from debt reduction to tax reduction to income creation. But probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is you can call our office. We have a huge team of people that would love to get a chance to get to know you, and we could speak personally. The number to my office is 480-981-7557. And again, for anyone who wants to call us, it's 480-981-7557.
All right, Daniel, I appreciate it. A lot of stuff going on, taxes, tariffs, a lot of, uneasy markets right now. So I appreciate all the advice, and good luck this Saturday morning on CNBC. We'll be watching.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Daniel Romberg from Nations First Financial on everything that's going on in the markets. Markets had a good day today, up a little bit.
Yeah, much to the chagrin of the left.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of a roller coaster day. Started up, I think, 500 points at the opening bell, then kind
Came
of
back
dipped,
down to plus 100. And
got into the
kinda
red in the
rallied.
middle of the day, and then kind of came back to, I think, a little less than 1% up on the day, but still, like you said, an up day as markets still try to feel out the tariff situation.
It's truly astounding that half the nation wants the stock market to crash because they hate the president so much. And I saw a poll today from CNN that 55% of Democrats think it's okay to use violence against the president.
Oh, yeah.
It's just astounding.
That is
It's
sick.
sad
Well, speaking of the
despicable.
UFC, look what happened. Did you see Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
was
came
there.
running down to say hello to the president.
Shaquille O'Neal said hi to the president. I don't know. I didn't see the lead up to how it presented itself, whether he walked over to him, whatever it was. They ended up being close enough where Shaquille went over and said hello, shook his hand. Obviously, they caught, well, Shaquille's getting
Killed.
just absolutely massacred
Yeah.
from the left and disappointments from other sports figures and people in sports talk radio and sports talk television because he shook hands with the president of the United States. I mean, it's
disgraceful.
absolutely bonkers.
It's disgraceful. It really is.
If you're
Sick.
sitting at UFC and Barack Obama walks by you and puts his hand out, you shake his hand.
Of course.
And you
Respect.
say, exactly.
I mean,
you
come
shake
on.
his hand and say, hello, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to the left, though.
I mean,
Because
just-
they play by different rules.
They don't have
care.
respect.
Just
That's crazy.
All right, we'll do some news when we get back live from Studio 6B on a Monday.
Delgado's upset they didn't get any peeps. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
At least I got a nice new coffee cup. I can't have any chocolate.
Oh, you can't have chocolate?
I mean, I can, obviously, but I'm, trying to.
Oh, you're.
But I'm going to have it now.
Delgado just stole all
Delgado,
of mine.
yeah,
so
Delgado just put on 3 pounds, which he'll burn off by the time he gets home.
by the time he's done warming his socks.
It's true. Yeah, today was nice.
Finally.
Beautiful today.
I didn't have to warm my socks. I wasn't blowing anything. It was wonderful. Wonderful.
What?
Shut up.
I didn't say nothing. I'm no more locker room jokes for me
Well,
ever
you
again.
know what?
No, yeah, after Friday
No,
night.
let's not even talk, please. Let's not even talk about it.
Come on, Paulie.
They're treating you like the left is treating Shaq.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're getting the shack.
He's in the dog shack.
Yeah, call it Chateau
You
Bow
sleep in the
Wow.
shack.
Wow.
Yeah, that
really
was,
like that.
I apologized. Yeah.
Yeah, caramba.
You
Damn thing.
Get
There.
back. Chat. Pay attention to the chat. What's going on in the chat? Anything going on here? Oh, Drag Blacker coming in with $5. Coming in hot on the YouTube, Big D, Drag Blacker. How many people in the chat would, in fact, shake hands with Barack Obama? He's asking.
I would.
Yeah, $5. I would too, of course. I mean, certainly.
Listen,
I mean,
that's
yeah.
what the whole Bill Maher, when he did his rant for 12 minutes, he just made it clear that if you're so far to the left that you aren't open to any discussion with somebody on the right, and the same with people on the other side, that's the problem. Got to be able to talk. Got to be able to communicate. When communication is lost, all is lost. Do you know who this dude is? My freaking
Child of the King gifted 20 live from Studio 6B memberships just now, Big D.
Wow,
Coming in
thank you
hot.
very
Child of the
much.
King. Thank you
Damn.
very much.
Child of the King, as always.
Thank you. That boy, the YouTube chat's on fire. Anything going on with your Rumble folks there?
Oh, you know what? I'm pulling up my news.
Let's get ready for Delgado to rumble.
Rumble's always jamming.
I know. Well, I think you might have some gifts in there. You know, Frank keeps an eye on it too when he can.
KRH. No, I didn't have to break out the weed torch just yet.
No,
I'm
huh?
getting there though.
13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. Oh, that's nice. Pulled my microphone right out.
Oh, man.
Me, Damon, I
See,
break
this is why we can't have nice things.
It matches the headset I just broke tonight.
You didn't know.
Doing this show at an arm's length.
Dave's like
Sasquatch
went in
over
full
here.
Hulk mode.
There you go. Get a handle on
13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Monday night. Let's do some news. We haven't done any news. Come on with the news.
Oh, believe me, there's news.
Oh, there's plenty of
Oh, my goodness.
All right, let's do the news. And here with the news is Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
And I won't be leading with the UFO story. I'm going to save that one for my next news break.
I can't wait.
Yes.
I can't.
I got to go make a coffee.
Put the coffee on. I'm just going to say put the coffee on.
I can't wait.
Slick
Do
gotta
it
go.
now.
I can have another
Me and
cup.
Slick got to go. No, I didn't break the studio. Whoever wrote that, I did. No, just came out of this thing.
Just came out of the thing.
Yeah.
No, it was a mic drop.
So big news, of course, Friday when Bill Maher talked about his dinner with President Trump. He went on, of course, to his show and detailed some of it. We have some of it here. Of course, he talked about meeting the president, going to the White House, and being basically surprised by what he encountered. Here it is. Here's cut number 3. Here's Bill Maher, a little condensed version of his description of meeting with President Trump at their dinner. Cut number 3. Check it out.
First good sign, before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy, fired like a dog, his show is dead. 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing, people whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine. So MAGA fans, don't worry, your boy gave me nothing. Just hats. Hats and a very generous amount of time and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high.
I wish that in that clip, after he signed that, he said the way he said it after that, I thought was one of the best parts. He said he did it with good nature, he did it with good humor, and he did it in good spirit. And I thought that was, pretty. I thought that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, another part of the of his monologue there, where he talked about how he felt like he didn't have to walk on eggshells talking to Trump, that he could just say what he wanted and feel like he's going to be listened to and not just kind of glazed over.
Yeah,
which was impressive. The comedian also was critical of the woke progressive, describing himself as an old school liberal. He talked about, of course, Trump giving him a quick little tour and showing him the Bill Clinton room,
merch room,
the merch room now,
which used to be the
other room for Bill Clinton. And but the one thing,
the Bill Jefferson room,
right? The one thing that jumps out at me from
no locker room humans,
Bill Jefferson,
right? That jumps out with Bill
Paul
Maher
can't jump in on that.
is that why can't he be more gracious and measured in other settings? Because he doesn't get the opportunity to, right?
Yeah.
When he's one-on-one or with a small group, he's funny. We see him. Yeah, he's engaging. He's all these things that Bill Maher just talked about. But the only time that Bill Maher probably sees him is when he's getting interviewed. And when he's getting interviewed by the deep state media, who all they do is ask stupid questions. They come at him, from a point of view where they have a narrative that they're trying to get. They're trying to get gotcha answers, and they're not being genuine. So of course.
And they're lying.
And they're lying. So is he going to stand there and be attacked and just take it? Or does he do what he does and he turns it back on them, which all of a sudden he's a bully? Well, no, he's fighting back. Again, Bill Maher sees the part where I think most of us see it, because we've seen more than just the regular interview stuff. The left, the mainstream media, that's all they want to show you. They won't show you his dinners with these people, his showing up here for this, his showing up there for that. They won't show you that because it doesn't fit their narrative.
Right.
So.
You saw him bring Van Jones to tears with his generosity and decency. We've seen 1,000 acts of his generosity and decency, but that's all shuffled under the rug. And all you hear is one quote where he screwed up. You grab the girls and that's the only thing you're ever going to get to hear from him. Right. Like the endless smear campaign has been 24/7, 365 for the last really 10 years. So it's outrageous. The whole thing's been outrageous.
And we've got
I don't know. Bill acts like he hasn't been gaslighted for all these years, and he acts like it's this big surprise. I mean, there's a lot of us who have never been around Trump. But if you're objective and you listen to people who have been around him over the last years, there's certain things about him without having met him.
Right.
And he's in the media. It's not like he doesn't know people that are more on the right that he could talk to and could have found out in all these years. He acts like this is all some big surprise to him, that the guy's magnanimous, that the guy's friendly, that the guy's nice. One of the things we heard from John Laval here on Long Island 10 years ago when he sat with Trump for the first time, he said, this guy sits at a table and he wants to hear from everybody before he makes a decision. Everybody knows that about Trump. He's been like that for years.
When Kid Rock
I don't know. This whole it's just, I can't believe it. Come on.
Well, Kid Rock had him on, and I endured that interview because Bill Maher has some moments where he's clever, but there's times where all you want to do is take like a pie and smush it in that smug face. But, they had that full conversation. The Kid Rock just kept saying he's a great guy. And his answer was, I know I hear from everybody. I hear from everybody that Trump's a great guy. Acts like he's so surprised. There is his way, in my opinion, of trying to not get crucified by his fan base. I think that's his way to placate the hate that he's going to get for sitting with the enemy.
Right. Well,
it didn't work out too well if you've checked social media.
He's getting pummeled.
So, again, why try to bend the knee when you know it's not going to do any good? Just whatever. But I'm just not buying this whole this huge light bulb is going off on. I mean, come on, because there's some things. If you had any legitimate interest in getting to know the man, you would have known that he likes to listen, that he is a very good listener, that he wants people's opinion, who he considers smart, even if he doesn't agree with anything you believe politically.
Yeah, but Bill is a leftist, so he probably thinks, you're just telling me that. Yeah, he probably listens to you. You know what I mean?
No,
he's going to be a doubter anyway.
No, I think he's pandering to his audience because he's afraid to lose a good portion of his audience. That's what I think it is. I think he's just kissing butt so he doesn't get his far left loonies who hit the like button on his podcast to disappear on him.
Well, he's already lost them because he just went to the dinner. Just going to the dinner
and that's his way
was
to
enough. Was enough for that.
If he lost 10% of them, maybe he gets 3% back. I just think it's all butt kissing for his audience.
Yeah, and I know we've got some additions of the other part of the way Trump can be coming up, because I know that
the CNN report,
the CNN stuff is
I got
brutal,
the whole 5.5 minutes. It's just glorious,
quite hilarious.
We should play that.
I mean, it's perfect the way he's. I mean, I don't know that they set it up, but it was. I mean, he was ready to go to Pam. He was ready. I mean, he really let other people do the work. Yeah. And it was glorious to watch. So we'll watch that here in the top of hour 2 already. Man, that was a fast hour 1. Live from Studio 6B on a Monday. We're back right after this.
Chat, live in the chat. What the hell?
What do you want? David, are you on like steroids?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you broke that. Now you broke that.
Wow.
Maybe it's just you're lifting so many weights now, you're breaking stuff everywhere.
Man.
Yes, John D.
Talk about a mug crack
6307,
worth
Big D
cracking
is
up over.
making coffee and breaking coffee cups.
Yeah.
And Big Sexy's breaking home.
Hey, that brings new terms to the meaning mugshot.
It's unbelievable.
That mug is shot.
Mugshot.
Or ordinary passenger in the Rumble chat's going to be 69 in a few weeks. Oh,
Wait,
my
who?
goodness.
Hey, what?
Ordinary
69.
passenger.
Wow.
And still cracking jokes in the chat.
Yeah, God bless. Next time, we're a supporter with that cup, Big D.
How does it start? No, I know it's cut one. Yeah, I know all that part. I just want to know how it started.
$5 super chat from Drag Black, a Big D. Why are any of you surprised that a Sasquatch like Damon breaks stuff? Come on, Damon, don't be a drag.
Oh, yeah.
Delgado writes this stuff.
What are you laughing?
You.
You're laughing at you. You're the
I'm
only one
laughing
I
at
know
me.
that laughs at his own jokes
I
as
do.
he's saying them.
I know. They're that good. I crack myself up.
That's too much. That's too funny. Hey,
Yes.
the look I gave you during that.
Oh.
He's waving his book.
I know. I was like, that was hilarious. Actually. That made me laugh. Because I was thinking the same exact thing.
I know, I saw you, man. I knew you were thinking it.
All right, live from Studio 6B, hour 2 on a Monday night. Glad you're in. Slick's going to do some more sports. Delgado will have some more news. Paul's going to have some news here coming up. But I thought we'd start hour 2 with really the video in the moment of the day. President Trump had President Bukele there from El Salvador in the Oval Office. And, of course, the media was in there and just could not wait to get to, of course, the question and the subject matter of the day and the Supreme Court and a 9-0 ruling that the Trump team is completely ignoring, we're told.
Right.
Creating a constitutional crisis.
Wait, didn't they win that?
His poor father from Maryland, as he's described.
But meanwhile, if Obama does it, they hoist him up as a deity that, saves America.
And the president took some questions. And then he got around to Caitlin Collins from CNN. And
she's charming.
What happened in the next 5.5 minutes was just glorious. A glorious smackdown, triple team smackdown by the Attorney General, by the Deputy Chief of Staff, who really is really the only one who should really talk about these matters on TV when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to these kind of things, quite frankly, in my estimation. Because there's really nobody better that's going to do it better than him, so why try? Just have him do it. That's, of course, Stephen Miller. And then the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, chimed in at the end as well. Here is that moment. Roll it, Aaron.
Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CB.
President, do you plan to ask President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported? The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him, President?
And you are doing a great job. Thank you. Wait a minute. Can you just also respond to that question? Because, you know, it's asked by CNN, and they always ask it with a slant, because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also, please?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As two immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised with the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask him about that?
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked President Bukele, can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm suppose you're not suggesting that I smuggle terrorists into the United States, right? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
But you can release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing, I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into
I mean, there's
they would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people. Mark, again, something to say?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin, except for Venezuela that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President, no, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way. That's Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We won a case 9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago.
That's not
and
what
they said
said.
You have to
that
answer
it must
this
be
question,
facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility.
He's right.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
And by the way, I think they're right to portray it as a 9-0 victory for themselves, because the media is portraying it the other way. And Pam Bondi's right. Again, it's all about what they said. They said that you would have to facilitate it. It didn't say you have to do it. It said you have to facilitate it. Meaning if they decided, El Salvador decided to send him back, then we would provide a plane. That would be facilitating his return. Doesn't mean he's going to come back and just get let into the country.
Right. It was explained that he would, if they facilitated and brought him back, he would just end up in another detention center and then be deported.
Correct.
Because that's the law. He's been deemed a gang member that has now been designated a terrorist organization, which means automatic deportation. There's no due process for terrorists. Unfortunately, that's news to the left. They want as many of them as they can smuggle into the country as possible.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been amazing all day to watch them argue, on behalf of an MS-13 gang member, as if he was some priest from their local church that got mistakenly sent. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's in related news. I mean, the hits keep coming. Illegal immigrant convicted in mom of 5, Rachel Morin's rape murder after the jury deliberates for less than an hour. There's just another story of Victor Martinez Hernandez. He's 24, convicted of first-degree murder, first-degree rape, first-degree sexual offense, and kidnapping of Morin, who's 37, and she was killed along a trail about 30 miles northeast of her Baltimore home. The guilty verdict came in less than an hour. It says here the case shook Hartford County, which is where my brother and sister-in-law and niece and nephew, beautiful neighborhood. And, this is one of those things where this guy had no business being here. And this mom with a family goes through the most heinous torture, unspeakable evil. This is, and we're gaslighted to we're crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing about that story, Rachel Morin from Maryland, a Maryland mother, Chris Van Hollen is the representative from Maryland. Chris Van Hollen, when Rachel Morin was murdered, I think gave a statement to a local news station, and that was it. Chris Van Hollen today said that if this MS-13 gang member is not returned to the United States, he was going to, ready? He was going to fly to El Salvador to go to the jail to check on him and make sure he's okay. Chris Van Hollen.
Good luck.
When Rachel Morin was murdered, he gave up about an 8-word statement to a local radio station about it, sending condolences to the family. Today, for an MS-13 gang member, he said he will fly to El Salvador to check on him.
What a
and make sure he's okay.
Is he going to take Lindsey Graham with him?
I don't know how you can be a worse person than Chris Van Hollen is. Just an absolute slug of a person. But this is the left.
Yeah.
He has no interest in this guy. He has an interest in the theater of it all. He has an interest in the theater of it all. He doesn't have any interest in this Maryland father, as they put it. because he had no interest in the Maryland mother who was murdered by an illegal who was here. He didn't go on any stations and saying nothing. He gave one statement to a local Maryland radio station. An MS-13 gang member, he's going to fly to El Salvador, this idiot.
What a sweetheart. He's like UNICEF.
How can you be worse than him? It's impossible. Impossible.
Thanks, Slick.
What else is going on? Well, we don't have. We don't have much time.
I was just going to comment on something you said there. You know, the narrative, the painting of the narrative of this Maryland man. He's not a Maryland man. He's never been a citizen of the United States, which means he's not a citizen of Maryland. He was an illegal immigrant from the country of El Salvador. So when you refer to him as the man from El Salvador who used to live in Maryland. If you want to say it like that, because that's the correct way to put it.
All right, Paul's going to do some news when we get back, plus more with Delgado, sports with Slick, all coming up.
Chat. Where's my chat page?
We get some likes over there on YouTube. We got to get to that 400 mark.
YouTube's.
Otherwise, Damon puts me back in the bucks. We're at 280.
Rancher Dane, Commander Mike, alive in the chat.
Commander Mike.
The real Bruce Lee is in there. Talking about the Twixters, Kentucky Hill Jill.
A lot.
Racing Banshee. Put on a suit.
2.5?
Half and then half.
Okay.
Put on a suit.
I have to do the read. So
Please don't start that again.
You know, I can keep it quick. No, whatever you want.
Joe Ed Jr.
I would like you to weigh in on.
That's pretty funny. Skeet Man's in the Rumble chat saying hello to everybody.
Skeet Man.
Skeet Man.
I like the Scat Man.
Scatman Crothers.
Run those Trump. I'm going to try to run those Trump clips at the bottom half of this segment, Aaron, on the him introducing OSU, Ohio State, with the trophy today at the White House. Yeah, I'll probably use 8. I don't Vance intro. I don't. It's a little long. I don't. Was there any reason why you like the Vance intro?
Well, he's a.
I know he's a former grad. I know that. I know. Well, I'm going to mention that. Yeah, 8 and 7 because Trump gets his jersey, and I will touch on the fact that he did drop the trophy.
On that subject.
Yeah. You see that? Drop the trophy.
It wasn't Trump.
I know it was Vance. That's what I was referring to in my head, saying Trump dropped.
Well, you said Vance, didn't you?
I was talking about Vance. That's what
you told me before about the story.
Yeah, Travion Henderson went to grab the top, and then the base.
I didn't see it.
All right, sound like the blues on a Monday night. Let me talk to you about our friends over at the Wellness Company. It's a new day in America and a new administration in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of excitement and optimism about the future. But, of course, the reality is there's a lot of work to do, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking the healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. The challenges the system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared. And of course, that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You know the Wellness Company. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. So from flu to strep throat, from COVID to bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America Healthy Again starts at home. Do your part. Protect the health of you and your family. Go to twc.health/voice, www.twc.health/voice. Today in order. That's twc.health/voice, and you can use promo code VOICE to save an additional 10%. Promo code VOICE at checkout will save you additional 10% from our friends over at the Wellness Company. All right, 18 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Paul Nolan is here. He's got some news. Mr. Nolan, what's going on?
Well, I'm going to stay in the international frame here on the China has hit back with U.S. tariffs by putting export controls on rare key earth minerals. This is an interesting story from Reuters, which is a little bit of a propaganda piece, but I want to go to it for a reason. China placed export restrictions on rare earth elements on Friday as part of its sweeping response to Trump's tariffs, squeezing supply to the West for minerals used for weapons, electronics, and a range of consumer goods. The move, which Beijing has long hinted was possible, further ratchets up the tensions between the two world's largest economies, leaving American manufacturers scrambling for fresh supplies of the critical minerals they've relied upon for decades. China produces around 90% of the world's rare earth minerals, and a group of those 17 elements used across the defense, the electric vehicle, energy, electronic industry, etc. All of these are very hard for us to get anywhere other from China. So this, I thought, was an interesting response to, what we have done in terms of reciprocal tariffs to a degree, So I thought this was interesting going back and forth, because one of the things that frustrates me about the news and the media and how they frame everything we see is things like this hit piece from Politico. Politico, which we all know is funded by USAID, which is essentially a mouthpiece for the CIA, has its main article on its front page. Canada says its friendship with the U.S. is over. Now what? So this is how the story starts. It says, our relationship, it's over. After a century and a half of building economic and military partnership that survived two world wars, the Great Depression, Cold War, 9/11, and the United States are finally breaking up. So said Prime Minister Mark Carney. Now, this is such a silly piece, but I'm going to roll with it, so just bear with me. If you guys need to go to your kitchen and grab some tinfoil to chew on it while I read this, it'll make it palatable. So Prime Minister Mark Carney, who we all know runs a little mini BlackRock, and he exported it from his home Canada to New York for tax benefits, vilified, any form of fossil fuel energy or, anything that wasn't considered green energy and that nonsense that we've all had to endure. But meanwhile, the primary investments of his investment group is in pipelines all throughout Saudi Arabia, which is incredibly telling about him. He said, this is what he said. He said, the old relationship we have with the United States based on deepening integration and of our economies and tight security and military cooperation is over. We must fundamentally reimagine our economy, and we will need to ensure that Canada can succeed in a drastically different world. The striking messaging that some said that Carney's conservative opponent, Pierre Poilievre, has begun to adopt underlines the degree to which the anger at the U.S. has taken under its current Canadian federal election campaign. So I just wanted to say this is a silly statement. It's a silly article. One person said it. The person who said it, as I said before, is an absolute World Economic Forum puppet. He completely bypassed the entire democratic process of Canada. He was placed in position as a globalist, and his job is to subvert anything Trump does, to create hate against Trump and try to rally up his base. So I just want, this is all part of the BS agenda, and I find the whole thing reprehensible. And the one thing I just want to touch on before I send it over to Slick in related news is China has imposed a 100% reciprocal tariff on Canada. This came for a while, but Canada had been tariffing the daylight out of China already for years, and no one's ever talked about it. Now China comes back with reciprocal, and that's not in the news anywhere. No. There's no evil demons anywhere. So I just wanted to send it over to you now, Rick, but I just wanted to talk about the nonstop BS we have to sift through in the ultimate propaganda media machine.
All right, very good, Paul Nolan. We'll do some more news with Paul at the end of the show. Let's do some more sports with Slick. Slickster Scott at Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use at checkout. What's going on, Slickster?
Well, aside from the nonsense with CNN today, the president has some fun at the White House along with the vice president as Trump hosts college football champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes, at the White House. It's my favorite team as well, and I know we got a lot of viewers from Ohio. Nick Gilbertson of Breitbart reporting, President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, an Ohio State alumnus, hosted the university's football team at the White House on Monday to commemorate their national championship victory. Ohio State won the championship over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 34-23 on January 20th, hours after Trump and Vance were sworn into office. And we're going to roll cut 8, Aaron, with the president introducing the Buckeyes, those national champions that they are.
Today is my great honor to welcome the 2024 college football national champions, the Ohio State University Buckeyes.
And if we could roll cut 7 as well, with the president getting his jersey, and I have a little comment to make about that when he gets that jersey.
We have some really nice gifts that we're going to have our captains give Mr. President, Mr. Vice President.
Here we go. Bringing up the jersey. Good old number 47. Now, it'd be nice if they'd have gave J.D. a number 48 jersey. Now, that would have really been nice, right? I guess they couldn't get away with that, huh, Big D?
Well, no, not when Bannon's got Trump as 48. So, no, he can't jump.
Well, we got to see. I'm hoping we have either one, but right now I got J.D. as 48 for my book. There we go. And you got the helmet as well. And a little drama as well there. J.D. Vance, he posted a hilarious take after fumbling Ohio State's championship trophy. Thanks, Aaron. This is also Dylan Gwynn at Breitbart. National championship trophies do not come with handling instructions, but perhaps they should. On Monday, as the Ohio State Buckeyes football team visited the White House to celebrate the national championship, Vice President J.D. Vance picked up the trophy for a photo op, only to have the hardware fall apart. I don't have the clip for that, but, Vance is a 2007 Ohio State graduate, and what he said was he covered himself good. The trophy went up, and Travion Henderson, the stud running back for Ohio State, he went to grab the top, and then the base actually fell off. I think J.D. thought it was one piece altogether, but he had a great one-liner. He said, I didn't want anyone after Ohio State to get the trophy, so I decided to break it. So that was cute. So good stuff with J.D. Good stuff at the White House, Big D. The Buckeyes won the national championship. That was my team. I had them rolling, so I was excited about that. Good to see them do it.
I didn't know you're an Ohio State Buckeye.
Yeah, I go back with Archie Griffin. I loved Ohio State. Absolutely.
Right.
I front run with some of the other clubs, but the Buckeyes are my team. Those are my boys. I'm a Cincinnati. I'm an Ohio guy. You know me.
Never heard him mention that.
Of course I have.
Never heard him
Archie Griffin. Sure.
Just when you thought you knew everything about your boy.
That's right.
This is great to find this out.
Lord.
Well, he found himself a winner.
That's a wrap,
after
Big
they
D.
won.
I'm a big
Back
Avalanche
to you.
fan.
Yeah, come on.
Dodgers, too.
I didn't say it.
Shut up.
All right, more news with Delgado. Plus, Dr. Holly Lucille's going to join us when we get back.
Nice.
Wow, 2 guests.
not heard that. I didn't hear that. I knew about the kid getting released on bail, though.
They dropped it from $1 million to $250.
Wow. $250. Somebody could put up a shack for that.
Cold blood murder in front of everybody. The judge reduced it to $250.
And he antagonized the whole thing.
If the roles were reversed and it was a white kid who did it,
oh, forget it. They would have put him in his.
He already would have been in the, in the electric.
BLM would have had a second coming.
Yeah, we would have watched. It would have been the trigger point to start the rallies. That's the way they're framing it.
I mean, do we have to do something here, Aaron, with the Skype? Or we've done this before with it, right?
What do we got?
Maybe. Drag Blacker in the YouTube chat, Big D. For another $5 chat from the old dragster. Next question. Could you all shake hands with Joe Biden after you were all afraid to know where his hands have been for 4 years?
Fist pump. Fist pump.
Fist pump on that one, Drag Blacker.
That's the one thing the Chinese have down, the bow. There's no contact.
Yeah, that's true. Bow out anytime.
But they stay with the chopstick, and it clearly don't work.
Chopsticks? They work.
They stink.
They stink, but they work.
Yeah.
Rice
Especially
with
after you eat
chopstick
sushi, they really
spoon or a
stink.
fork?
What?
If you're going to eat rice, is it going to be with chopstick, spoon, or fork?
Fork. But if I'm in an Asian restaurant, I'm going to use the chopsticks.
In what order would you pick them if you had to?
Fork, spoon, chopsticks.
Yeah, fork for sure.
But then again, I'm not a chopstick guy. But I'll use them if I have to use them.
He's
When
more
in
for
Rome.
He likes to eat quinoa.
When in Rome.
Hey, Paul,
When in Rome, right.
What would you eat your quinoa with?
Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes I'll do it just because it fits. I'll be in the restaurant where it's like, you know what? I am going to use those chopsticks. Thank you very much. Chop, chop. Get me those sticks. Chang.
Yo, hop sing.
I like using chopsticks once in a while. They come in handy.
Literally.
But I'm just talking about what's clearly a better invention.
Oh, definitely the fork.
I'm not really. When in Rome, when in Rome, I'm going to eat.
But when you eat pizza,
food.
what are you going to use? Knife, fork, or hands?
Hands. all
Exactly.
day, unless it's a cup of pizza.
It's a what?
Nothing.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice, all across the country on a Monday night. Glad you're in. Slick's going to do some more sports. Delgado's got some more news. Paul Nolan's going to grab some more news here before we wrap on a Monday. But right now, please welcome back to the show. Of course, all of us are looking for ways to feel better, get in shape, and improve their overall health. And Dr. Holly Lucille is here. Of course, she's a naturopathic doctor. And, of course, she works with Pure Health Research. Please welcome her back to the show. Dr. Lucille, how are you?
I'm great, always being with you guys. Thanks so much.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. And as I said, I know you work with Pure Health Research, and they have wonderful health supplements. And we talk about keeping in shape, and we talked about liver health formula and stuff like that. But what else can you tell us about some of their other supplements they have?
Yeah, it's great. I've said we have talked about liver health formula, but once the liver does its job of detoxifying things, it has to go through what system? The lymph system. So I would say, out of their 45 products, I would want to talk about lymph system support next. Anybody that's experiencing that fluid retention or struggling with swelling, ankles, legs, feet, etc., it's a natural formula. It helps flush out those extra fluids to alleviate that uncomfortable swelling or tightness. So really supports that healthy lymph system. Also, I think I've said this to you all before, but it's worth repeating. During the pandemic, we figured out that only 12% of the American population is metabolically healthy. What does that mean? Well, we can manage our blood sugar and the things that we actually eat. So what do we do for that? Well, I would say the blood sugar formula is also really great. It can help reduce appetite, just like those medications out there that everybody is trying. And I'm starting to see it hurts my heart, but it can crush sugar cravings and Also makes it easier to stay in sleep, and it can help down. So I would also say
reconnect with Dr. Lucille. I don't know if she's on wireless, Aaron, or what, but she keeps freezing up. So we'll try to reconnect with Dr. Lucille, see if she can get on a hardwired and get off the wireless, which I'm assuming that's what that issue is. We'll try to figure that out and have her back on here before we wrap the show. But let's do some news while we wait to see if we can figure that out. And here with that is Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, some of the highlights we saw today from the White House, whether it be the Ohio State football team visiting or, of course, the president of El Salvador. During the meeting with the president of El Salvador, of course, President Trump took several shots at CNN's anchor, Caitlin Collins, as she peppered him with questions at the Oval Office over the quote-unquote rightful deportation of El Salvadorian national who the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that could be sent back to the United States if El Salvador wants to do it. But here is, because of all the butthurtness over at CNN and Trump saying that basically CNN hates his country, Dana Bash took it upon herself to respond to the president. Here she is, cut number 11 on CNN, saying that CNN is nice and we don't really hate the country. Here is cut number 11. You have to see this for yourself to believe it. Cut 11, Dana Bash, check it out.
We've been listening to a lengthy live press conference inside the Oval Office with the leader of El Salvador, Bukele, where we have heard a lot of bits of information, a lot of news nuggets that we want to definitely focus on, a lot of some misinformation as well. But we want to digest all of this right now with our terrific panel here and our reporters. Jeff Zeleny, I want to start with you. You are at the White House. Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing.
So you don't like fake news, huh?
We just report like we do.
Right.
Maybe we actually don't. We just report like we do. How about that? All right, we'll hold the news for a second. Let's get back. I mean, Jesus. Dr. Holly Lucille, I think we have her back. We'll see if the connection's any better. There she is. Dr. Lucille, welcome back. You were talking about, I believe, the lymph product. Tell us again.
Yeah. We went from lymph support after the liver does its job, the lymph can take everything out. So really important to support that system as well. And then the last thing I'll talk about tonight is the blood sugar formula. Really, as it says, it really helps support healthy blood sugar. And there's a lot of people dealing with unhealthy blood sugars that is leading to cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, et cetera. So I think that's really important as well.
And when you said that the fact that you gave us, what percentage of the American people are, say that again?
12%. During the pandemic, we understood that only 12% of the American population was metabolically healthy. And that's where, when people were infected with a particular virus, COVID, they would have that cytokine storm. And a lot of it had to do with being metabolically unhealthy. And so we're trying to get people to get their weight under control, their blood sugar under control, and so they can just be more vital when anything else comes around.
Yeah. And when it comes to that, I think I've asked you this before, but I forgot what you said. And giving the body what it needs and giving the body the ability to do things maybe it can't do as well. How much does methylation work when it comes to things like this? When you think about methylating, taking a methylated multivitamin and kind of taking the form where it's kind of already done the work that the body can't do, does that apply at all to anything that Pure Health Research, what you would be taking from them, and just speaking to that overall metabolic health of people, how much of that factors in?
So methylation, do you have 4 hours? We could talk about it, but I'm just going to try to sum it up for you. It's a chemical process in your body. Has to do a lot with our neurotransmitters, has to do with pathways in the liver. There are genetic SNPs. They're called single nucleotide polymorphisms, or SNPs, where your methylation can be off to a certain extent, whether it's a 35% reduction in methylation or a 75% reduction in methylation or anywhere in between. The idea of taking something that's already methylated, like let's say in a B vitamin formula, is exactly what you said. You're kind of spooning it into the cells instead of your body having to do extra work in order to get it absorbed into its most bioavailable form. And so if you look at the ingredients in Pure Health Research, for example, and you can go to their website, purehealthresearch.com, and see each product has the ingredients listed and a clinical study behind each product, you'll see that their forms are quality. And that's important because you can get sub-quality forms that are cheaper to manufacture, right? But your body has to work harder to actually metabolize them and get them in to do the job that we're promising they're going to do.
Yeah. All right. Very good. You can go to purehealthresearch.com. Of course, if you're interested in any of this and taking a look at their really fabulous lineup, you can get 35% off your order if you use coupon code 6B. And, of course, you're protected with their 365-day money-back guarantee. So you risk nothing by giving it a try. Purehealthresearch.com. Save 35% with promo code 6B right there on your screen. Purehealthresearch.com. Dr. Lucille, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Sorry for the trouble.
No problem. No problem. Dr. Holly Lucille from Pure Health Research, purehealthresearch.com. Save 35%. Use code 6B. I asked her that because I'm interested in that, obviously, methylation, because I take a methylated multivitamin, and they say it's much better for you to get the things that you need. So,
yeah.
All right, very good. Let's get back to the news with Rick Delgado. What else is going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, big story, Damon, coming out of the New York Post. Declassified Cold War-era CIA files detail, I talked about this earlier, Soviet clash with aliens who witnesses say turned soldiers into stone. Yes.
We suspected this.
This is actually declassified Cold War-era CIA files have gone viral over its coverage of a supposed clash between Soviet soldiers and UFO passengers, which reportedly turned the troops to stone before blasting off. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the CIA acquired a 250-page KGB report recounting the events that transpired after a platoon fired at a flying saucer over Ukraine. The report included eyewitness accounts, pictures of the aftermath, shut your face, and which one American agent described a horrific picture of revenge on the part of the extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze. The report claims Soviets conducting a training exercise spotted a low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer flying over their heads. Yeah. During the encounter, one of the Soviets fired a surface-to-air missile, which struck the UFO and sent it to the ground. It fell to Earth, and not far away, and 5 short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes emerged from it.
All saying, app, 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 app.
Morgan Mindy, nano.
After escaping the debris of the ruined ship, the beings huddled together and merged in a single object that acquired a spherical shape.
Oh, the sphere.
Yeah, exactly. In a few seconds, the sphere grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up an extremely bright light. At the very instant, 23 soldiers who'd watched the phenomenon turned to stone, the report says.
Did you get this from the Sun?
No, this is.
You got that from ELO song back in the 70s.
Only
stone.
Only 2 soldiers that stood near the shade were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived, according to this. The KGB allegedly took custody of the petrified soldiers and the ruined spacecraft, which was transported to a secret base near Moscow. So there you have it.
All I could see was
Electric Light Orchestra turned to stone.
All I saw was little aliens from the movie Mars Attacks.
Where was that?
The New York Post.
Wow.
New York Post. Okay.
New York Post. We reference the New York Post a lot. These are from a CIA file.
Yeah, that's a viable source.
They're only writing what they're reading here in the file.
No.
I mean, it's
the CIA document, declassified in 2000, originally covered by the Canadian Weekly World News and Ukrainian paper.
So the Canadian paper reported on the Ukrainian paper about a KGB story about a guy who saw Tony Randall's nephew. Wait, it
had nothing to do with Tony Randall.
Okay.
And this story was even featured on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast last year.
Oh, who was the guest?
I don't know.
Bob Lazar.
Okay,
there you have it.
All right. Well,
I love that story, by the way. I'm not going to lie. I think that stuff's
Jesus Perez says, Delgado, it's true. Absolutely, it's true.
Well, think about Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Don't look back.
Yeah.
You'll turn to stone. What happened?
Salt.
Boom.
They turned the
Woman
pillars of salt.
turned to salt.
I
Same thing.
love those stories. I think that stuff's fun.
Yeah.
I got one more for you. This will be fun for anybody wanting to celebrate Cinco de Mayo in
us out,
Chicago. Chicago has canceled their Cinco de Mayo parade, held annually in the sanctuary city, over fears of, you guessed it, ICE raids. Organizers announced on Thursday that the parade, which was set to be held on the southwest side of the city next month, has been canceled as Trump's war on illegal immigrants has sparked fear across the country. Our people are scared, said Hector Escobar, president of the Casa Pueblo and Cermak, say that 10 times fast, Road Chamber of Commerce. He said, see, some of them don't even like to want to go to work. Well, that's because they're taking a siesta. And they've had a high risk. Definitely, it's not much to celebrate. The 5th of May festivities originally celebrated Mexican victory over the French. No, that's not why. They don't even have this right. That's not why they...
Which story?
Commander Mike on X says Paul believes all of this, but he's clowning Delgado because D and Slick are
right.
Oh yeah, bandwagoner.
Just like he's a Dodger fan.
17 to the hour. We'll wrap it up on a Monday. We get back right after this. Yep, Paul.
He figured me out.
Double Dutch bus coming down the street. That's what it reminds you of.
Either that
no
or,
Zary,
well,
no Obama.
He's old enough for Disco Duck.
I am old enough for Disco Duck. Kidding me? I was probably like 12 when that came out.
I actually heard that yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I was grabbing a slice of Coliseo.
He's on Larry the Duck does the whatchamacallit, Channel 33 on XM in the morning.
Disco Duck. From,
His
Rick
friend,
Dees.
there's a great sound in that.
Rick
We
Dees.
should play that every time Delgado does one of those stories. I don't know if we can isolate that that song we just played.
I usually play this song every time he does one of those stories. It's called Trips to Space.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you got it. You nailed that one.
Thanks, friend.
I don't recall hearing that one.
That part in the middle where it's like...
Somehow it just resonated tonight.
Theme song when I was in Mardi Gras.
Oh, God.
In my 20s.
That's too funny. We got to get more sound bites in the sound bank for when Delgado does those stories. Like,
I said the same thing to him. Read his text.
That was funny.
What? It was a real story. Haters gotta hate, man.
Oh,
I love that stuff. I'm not sure I believe any of it, but I love it. Bob Lazar on Rogan was one of my favorite Rogan podcasts of all time.
He's still there. He's still out there too. They haven't. I'm surprised they didn't know.
You know what they did to him, though? They really wrecked his life. I mean, every single person he was friends with or made
Dave Syverson on X. Damon, can I do the reads in beatbox? Yes.
IRS. People wouldn't talk.
I love a good beatbox.
He lost everybody.
Oh, you know what you got to listen to? I started listening to Tucker's interview with Kurt Weldon.
Yeah, I saw the 9/11 clip.
Really?
Having to do with 9/11. This guy is.
There's so much horrible evidence on that.
He's what?
He is. He talks about how the FBI raided his daughter's house to get at him.
Did you hear him talking about what's his name's book? the segment on Tony Schaefer's book, how the government bought up all the copies of it because they didn't want. All right, 13 to the hour on a quick Monday night. Glad you've been in. Going to be a good week. If you're watching on social media, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Again, check out Eternal Life Coin, our brand new sponsor for Vinnie Mac's segments. Their Eternal Life Coin, you can get yours for Easter right now. It's a great, beautiful gift. If you want to give them out for Easter or just get one for yourself, I carry it around with me all the time. I have for about the last 3 months, and they're absolutely beautiful coins. EternalLifeCoin.com. Anybody who purchases one this week will get a free T-shirt if you send your receipt into lfs6b@yahoo.com. And anybody that buys anything from Mike Lindell can get a free T-shirt this week. So promotion week as we head into Easter. LFS6B is the code at MyPillow, of course, and Eternal Life Coin. All you got to do is make a purchase, send in your receipt to lfs6b@yahoo.com. Paul Nolan's got the news. Mr. Nolan, what's going on?
Well, my man Tom Fitton over at Judicial Watch has announced today that it filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Justice for records regarding Epstein, including any records on the identities of the clients associated of Epstein. Judicial Watch sued for the Justice Department after it failed to adequately respond to 4 separate FOIA requests regarding and concerning Jeffrey Epstein, including specific requests for depicting the identities of clients or associates of Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein document request was sent to the Justice Department, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation has thwarted all of them, despite the fact they are legally obligated to turn over the treasure trove of documents that have been redacted.
Let's do the Epstein file release update for the day. Epstein's the list and arrests made. Let's do it for the day. And here with that is Rick Delgado. Mr. Delgado?
Well, guys, according to my research, that's more. There's actually lines on that paper.
Yes. Yeah, and a few holes, too.
All right, there you go. There's your Epstein update list, arrest list for the day. Back to Paul Nolan with the news. Paul continues.
So I found this a little disturbing. Taylor Lorenz, you guys familiar with her?
Whack job.
Whack job. So she has some interesting things to say on Luigi Mangione. Aaron, can I get that first clip? Let's see, Crazy Incarnate.
We have a number on it.
Hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts, and we give them Netflix shows. There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels. And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen, because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
The women who gather outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like, here's this man who's a revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is fine.
She should marry him and see how that turns out.
Women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we are.
This is crazy. You could blow her up.
Because this is really. What did I say before? You can't be a worse person than Chris Van Hollen. I take that back.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I think you found one.
Let's just follow up on the double down, because there was a rally to free Luigi. That's right. The cold-blooded assassin. Free Luigi. Aaron?
Nadine Seiler is a long-time progressive activist.
We've met before. I've seen you at protests in Washington, D.C. Against Trump. Against January 6th, all that sort of stuff. Is accepting the violence that was committed against Brian Thompson.
America was founded on violence.
But by
America was founded. Make America great again. To when they came and massacred the indigenous people, millions and millions of indigenous people.
But by supporting the murder of a healthcare CEO,
you know what? I just wanted to give you a glimpse of the stupid people paid.
I don't hear that.
This is the These are the paid actors who are just completely useless towards society. That's as stupid as it gets.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. I just wanted to show you guys a glimpse at crazy.
All right, 9 minutes.
What we're up against.
9 minutes to the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do a little more sports. We'll wrap it up if we have time with news with Delgado. Sports with Slick. Slick Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Again, you make any purchase going into the Easter weekend by Mike Lindell this week, whether it's one of his crosses, one of his books, one of his whatever, send in your receipt. We'll send you out a free T-shirt. We have one actually that's free, brand new. Team Jesus shirt that's available this week. We'll send that out for free. Slick, what's going on in sports?
I'll be the quick sweep of the scoreboard. Haven't hit that tonight yet. NHL action right now. Playoff implications on the line. The Blackhawks have defeated the Montreal Canadiens 4-3 in a shootout, which has kept the Columbus Blue Jackets alive for the time being because the Canadiens could not clinch that last spot that's open in the NHL Eastern Conference. We got Utah Hockey Club over the Predators 4-3, 3:44 to go there in the second. And finals from earlier tonight. Red Wings 6-4 over the Stars. And the Rangers, who have been eliminated like the Islanders, will both be on the golf course at the same time. Probably separate courses, but just the same. They'll be there together. 5-3 over the Panthers tonight with that win. NBA action, just one game in action tonight. Grizzlies and Warriors. Actually, no games tonight. Check that. And MLB. Mets 5-1 over the Twins, top of the 8th. The Cubs and Padres, no score, bottom of the 1st. Yankees with a win today, 4-1 over the Royals. And Braves top the Blue Jays 8-4. Just get to, well, good story. Former NASCAR star Tony Stewart earns first career top fuel victory in NHRA. Fox Sports. Former NASCAR star Tony Stewart won the NHRA 4-wide nationals on Sunday for his first career top fuel victory. The 53-year-old Stewart had a winning run of 3.87 tenths at 317 miles an hour at the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He held off Antron Brown at the finish and also beat Justin Ashley and Jasmine Salinas in the final. You sure as hell appreciate it more when you struggle like we did, Stewart said. All the credit goes to this team. I'm so proud of the guys. There's so many great partners here, and I have a great team standing there. Stewart is a 3-time Cup Series champion with 49 career victories in the sport's top division. He was named one of NASCAR's top 75 greatest drivers of all time. And one last quick story, as we talked about earlier. Judge reduces Carmelo Anthony's bond from $1 million to $250,000 and places him under house arrest. Alan Mastrangelo of Breitbart Sports, the judge reduced the bond for Carmelo Anthony, who is charged with murder after the fatal stabbing of a fellow teen, Austin Metcalf, at a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas, from $1 million to $250,000. And on Monday morning, Anthony was in court for a bond reduction hearing, where his attorneys asked the judge to reduce his bond to $150,000. Basically, his attorneys were saying they don't even know why he's being held and kept from his family, and they just totally went from $1 million to $250,000. Just absolutely crazy, in my opinion. That's a wrap in sports. Big D, back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. Again, if you want to try that Rev 7 brand new energy drink without all the nonsense that most of them have, it's available at MyPillow right now. I think you can actually try the 3-pack absolutely free, I believe, this week. And they have the Percale bed sheets for $25 blowout sale at MyPillow this week. So you can get all of that at mypillow.com/LFS6B with promo code LFS6B. Let's do a little more news to wrap it up. And here with that is Rick Delgado. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, this is a story that deserves a little bit more attention, but this all we got is his Florida assistant principal is arrested after making a 13-year-old student rub her feet like he loved her, according to police.
What?
Oh,
yes,
God.
Dr. Kiva Lark, 53, assistant principal at Lake Marion Creek Middle School in Florida, was charged with lewd and lascivious conduct and lewd offense after a student against a student by an authority figure after the principal of the school reported the incident to the sheriff's office. The victim, 13-year-old male student, was allegedly sent to Lark's office after throwing a balled piece of paper across a classroom, and his punishment was to rub her feet like he loved it.
So that's as gross as it gets.
That's pretty gross.
I had a related story. I didn't get to do it. A study shows that homeschooled kids could be missing out on the opportunity to be a gay communist.
Oh.
Thanks for
and rub feet.
Thanks for walking over the punchline. Slick Rick, talk to him for me.
As always, we salute our military, active and active, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us, all our emergency personnel, all our truckers, all our farmers, everybody that keeps the country moving. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron, Frank, great job as always. Thanks most of all to you, the Live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m., right here, live from Studio 6B. See you then. Enjoy the rest of your night.